and welcome to Prudent Media. My name is Sachin Chatte and on this show we take a look at the latest releases. Today we will take a look at the last two films of the year, Anaconda and Tu Meri, Tera or whatever it is called. Directed by Sameer Vidwans, the film Tu Meri, Tera, Tu Meri is proof that a film and its title can be overwhelmingly long. फिल्म का टाइटल इतना बड़ा है तो फिल्म कितनी बड़ी हो सकती है आप सोच सकते हैं. The title itself gives us adequate warning and feels like an endurance test, and the film faithfully lives up to it. By the midpoint, which feels like an eternity, one realizes that only half of the title has been addressed. Aside from the exploration of Croatian tourism, which we will come to shortly, TMM, TM, TTM, मेरे ख्याल से ये टाइटल ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है. TMM, TM, TTM, या बोलने से अच्छा कि तू मेरा मैं तेरा whatever it is called. So TMM, TM, TTM has precious little to offer, although it masquerades as if it's a groundbreaking film and it's trying to bridge the 90s with the current era. Ultimately, it fails on both fronts. Rehan, played by Kartik Aaryan, who prefers to be called Ray, meets Rumi, played by Ananya Pandey, and while they are en route to a vacation in Croatia. She is the author of a best-selling novel called Love in Agra, and they cross paths at the airport and in the aeroplane. He is portrayed as a carefree flirt, which later allows for the revelation of his kind-hearted and loving nature. His incessant chatter is not driven by narrative necessity, but rather to mask the emptiness that lies beneath, suggesting a lack of substance. पूरी तरह से ये फिल्म खोखली है. By coincidence, they reserve the same yacht and predictably they find themselves sharing the same cabin in the yacht in Croatia. As they are on holiday, Cupid acts at warp speed. Rumi introduces an unexpected lightness and restraint, which unfortunately only highlights how aggressively dull everything around her is. She is trying to act in a movie that seems determined to keep interrupting itself with fancy shots and unnecessary banter. However, for the film to progress, a conflict must arise, and this time the conflict revolves around family and obligations. Rumi is tasked with caring for a father played by Jackie Shroff, जो एक retired army officer है और second half में suddenly वो गाना गाने लगते हैं ये है मेरा इंडिया. Meanwhile, his mom Pinky, played by Neena Gupta, she starts singing चोली के पीछे क्या है और सबकी प्रॉब्लम बढ़ जाती है. मुझे इंडियन बहू नहीं चाहिए, she declares. Now TMM, TM, TTM tries to be cool while also reflecting on the DDLJ kind of films. Some of the dialogues sound like they were written after scrolling Instagram captions for hours and deciding that this is how young people communicate. The film features a variety of elaborate dance sequences that are skillfully choreographed. However, this does little to enhance the film. In fact, it does not contribute at all, as there is no character development or authentic emotions to discuss. Everything is delivered with a subtlety typically found in a soap opera. सास बहू जो सीरीज होती है उसमें शायद ज़्यादा subtlety होती होगी इस फिल्म से तो. Kartik Aaryan injects a considerable amount of energy into his performance, but that is the extent of his contribution. Billed as a romantic comedy with sizzling chemistry, TMM, TM, TTM substitutes Croatian postcards for romance, forgets to bring the comedy, and delivers chemistry that feels less electric and more like a compulsory group project nobody volunteered for. I'm going to go with 2 out of 5 stars for TM, TM, TTM or whatever it is called. And now let's take a look at Anaconda. Now, one might not expect that a film released in 1997 centered around a giant snake would spawn 4 sequels and a Mandarin version that released earlier this year. The original Anaconda was light-hearted and entertaining film that captivated audiences at that time. Some film and all snakes should be left alone. Anaconda is certainly one of them, the film and the snake both. In this film, there is a scene featuring 2 groups of individuals attempting to remake Anaconda. One group doesn't have the rights, while the other is the official remake by Sony Studio. The joke is about how studios are recycling old material and are seemingly out of fresh ideas. It appeared that the joke was on the audience who spent their money to watch studios pull a fast one on them. The sole reason this version of Anaconda, directed by Tom Gormican, doesn't fail miserably is because of its cast. There is Jack Black and Paul Rudd portraying Doug and Ron respectively. They have been close friends since their school days, along with Kenny, played by Steve Zahn, and Claire, played by Thanvi Newton. Together, they even produced a monster film during their school days titled The Quatch. However, since that time, Doug, who directed the film, has seen his career stagnate. He aspired to achieve success in Hollywood, but instead finds himself making wedding videos. He makes an effort to introduce a twist by incorporating elements of horror and other genres in the wedding videos. Ron, on the other hand, is a struggling actor who has appeared in 4 episodes of SWAT, but has not experienced any success since then. Ron claims that he has the rights to Anaconda and proposes rebooting the franchise with a low-budget indie film, prompting them to venture into the Amazon with a minimal crew. The film features intriguing discussions regarding intellectual property and the inner workings of Hollywood. However, just in case you forget, the title of the film is Anaconda, and it takes a considerable amount of time for the snake to make its appearance. Initially, the crew encounters a congenial snake alongside a local snake handler. Subsequently, to my relief, the real thing appears and wreaks havoc. The narrative of the film is quite disjointed. At one moment, the characters are engaged in a struggle against the anaconda, and in the next moment, they are frantically trying to finish their film, which incidentally also lacks coherence. More than once, you wonder what is transpiring and why. Nevertheless, if you are an admirer of Jack Black and Paul Rudd, and Kishi elements of course, it may not be as excruciating. Ice Cube makes a cameo appearance with AC/DC's Back in Black playing in the background. I had hoped that the snake would also receive an enthusiastic welcome accompanied by a stellar rock anthem. A well-known star from the original film also makes a cameo appearance at the end. Now the film frequently takes jabs at Hollywood and its studios. वो बार-बार बताते हैं कि कैसे studios पुरानी फिल्में recycle करते हैं और sequels बनाते हैं. Yet it ultimately embodies the very type of the film it mocks. Now how ironic is that? I'm going to go with 2 out of 5 stars for the new Anaconda. Well, that's what I thought of the 2 last films of the year that were released this week, and do let us know what you think. And I'll be back with you next week, or rather next year, with more movie reviews. Till then, it's goodbye from me.